excuse me, I'm all stuck together and damp and dewy. Oh, I wish. Like, no, I don't even want to, like, I feel like Joan Rivers always, I wish. But I feel like before the pandemic, well, not even way before, but like a little before, I was a little dewier and like, you know, like a real sex pot and everything. Like, right, even in my advanced age, 'cause I'm super old. So I was dating up a storm, and as I still continue to do in my dotage, but dating is now, I won't go into how weird dating is now, because it's very sterile and serene and stupid. But let me just tell you about the last fucking date I had before the pandemic. And it was such an amazing date that I coasted on that really for the whole pandemic. It's only just starting to wear off, but only, okay? So, let me just give you a little background, right? Because I just date my little butt off, and then I used to do a show called Tinder Tales, and then I'd go to the Gladstone and tell everyone about it and get all these kudos for just being a bitch, right? So, for some weird reason, I have this thing for Jewish men, but I don't really. I just think I do. And then I get 5 minutes into it, and I'm like, oh my God, I hate Jewish men. And I can say that because I am Jewish. So, went out with this guy, Shelley. He was a lawyer, and he was really wealthy, and he was my age. And I know this is so judgy, but I'm the judgiest, and if it's not even politically correct, I don't care. But he'd had corrective facial surgery, like cosmetic surgery, and I could tell, and I didn't like that little twinge on his mouth. So anyway, but that didn't stop me from going out with him again, and I went out with him again, and we were at Chironi having dinner, don't you know, and he said, oh, so Elaine, you know, I'm really, really into, like, my wife and I, we have an open marriage, and I'm really, really into sex clubs. And I go to them all the time, and would you like to come with me? And I'm going to just do. And he was like, Mr. Sex, right? And I was like, ooh. We even kissed after the dinner, and we got a little French, and it was actually pretty good, okay? But I was like, no, Shelley, I don't go to sex clubs. I don't like sex clubs. I don't know any fucking thing about sex clubs. And I don't even want to talk about them, okay? So there. So needless to say, I never heard from him. But I didn't really want to hear from him, but I just like to know I'm going to hear from people. But he was completely wrong for me because I'm not a sex club gal. Okay, fast forward 2 years, and I'm on a date with Richard. And he's just charming. He's a nerdy geek. He's about 10 years younger than me. Of course, he's married. Everybody's fucking married in an open marriage. It's so charming. And he has kids, blah, blah, blah. But he has a computer company in Brampton. So I think, wow, you know, that's solid. And then we were out for one of our many dinners, you know. I love to eat. And so he said, I've got to go and sign some papers, file some shit, I don't know, over at Oasis Sex Club. And I was like, whatever for, Richard? He said, oh, I own Oasis Sex Club. And I was like, oh my God, he said, maybe you could do storytelling there. Let's go over and look at the space, and I got to do some shit, and we can have some drinks. And I was like, whoa, look at me, Elaine Gold. I am going to a sex club. And so I go to this sex club, I do, with Richard. He's the owner. That's so cool. First of all, I'd never been to a sex club. And Melanie, I wasn't popular in high school. So now I was actually doing a really cool thing. I was out on a date with the owner of Oasis Sex Club, right? It was such a cool day. I didn't even have to take my clothes off. I was like, you know, just dressed. And I said to Richard, because I don't know the etiquette, right? And I always like to do the right thing. And I said, is it okay that I have my clothes on? Like, should I take them off? What do I do? Like, I would take them off if that was the rule that you had to take your clothes off. Of course I would do it. Like, it's there. I mean, whatever. So he said, no, you're fine. And, you know, we go to the room that I potentially could be telling so many stories in, right? Until there's a pandemic, but I'm jumping ahead. and we go in there, and I go, yeah, that's cool, whatever. And I see there's a mattress on a platform. Remember, I am naive as fuck. I have not been to a sex club. And I go, Richard, what is that little platform with a mattress for? Please tell me. He said, oh, sometimes people will go up there. And remember, I'm still processing this guy owns a sex club. And he said people go up there and have, like, you know, really hot sex and, you know, gets people going and people come into the room. And I thought, are people going to be doing that when I'm telling you a story? That's colorful. So I said, oh my God, he goes, sometimes my wife and I, get ready, they will, like, lead the charge and we'll go and we'll have, like, wild, I'm like, Richard is blowing my mind. But the thing is, he's not telling me to do that. I'm just, like, along for the ride, right? So we're talking and we're doing, and then, you know, people are bringing us drinks because he's the owner, right? Like, I'm finally the cool kid. But I'm in a sex club. Of course, nobody has clothes on. And it's not a really busy night. I'm a little bit disappointed. Obviously, I wanted to be like, look at that, look at that, look at that, right? And then, or maybe I would have taken my clothes off. I don't know. I didn't know how I would feel, right? So, Richard and I talking, whatever. And I see a couple walk into the let's put on a show room, I guess. And they get up there and, yeah, they look, you know, whatever. But it's fumbly, okay? And at one point, I'm getting the vibe that he couldn't super get it up. And I'm like, oh my God, this is supposed to be the big performance area. And I'm not looking at this in any, it's not, to me, it should be like Olympic sex. Like, not porn. Although Richard showed me a porn he was in before. I'm like, Richard, like, whatever. And I was like, oh, now I know the size of his penis. Like, because you don't normally know that if you're dating someone, because you don't normally date porn stars, I guess. I don't know. So anyway, this couple walks in, and I don't pay them much mind because whatever. But as I say, it's so... and I can almost tell this is when I wasn't sure how old they were, but I could now tell they were really old because I could watch what was going on. And I was really disappointed at the show. And at one point, you know, she obviously has to blow him. It's the saddest, it's like a sad blowjob, right? Then he goes down on her, but like there's a mercy vibe to that. Like the whole thing was, and I elbow Richard. I'm like, isn't this supposed to be like the creme de la creme? Obviously, it's a slow night. You get what you pay for. Well, we're not even paying. It was a free show. Plus, he's the owner. So, anywho, this is going on. Eventually, there's some kind of a thing that's going on. This is the missionary position symbol of now. And, yeah. And, it's whatever, you know, and I thought, you know, this is too much like when I have mediocre sex in my own bed. I don't need to go out and see that. Like, I've experienced it in my own life. Not really. I really, you know, everyone hopes, like, this is going to be good sex. I know it. I guarantee these two people thought that when we're ready, we're going on the platform. Okay, I'm diving on the, you know, no, okay, this is judgy, but if he's going on the platform, just take a little Cialis. Nobody, and I understand, I have dated. I have a whole part of my one-woman show about men that took Cialis that I was dating, okay? That's a whole subtext. But this guy should have something, okay? Nobody wants to see a semi-impotent man on the show platform at a sex club. Am I wrong? I'm not wrong, okay? I'm not just being a judgy old bitch. I think that's universal. But wait, everyone. They hop down. It's like the Olympics to dismount. And I'm really, that's not even a pun, because I would not call what he did mounting. It was so sad. So they get down. And then I'm so blind as a fucking bat. I can't see in a distance. But even in that aspect of my life, I looked. Who do you think that weak, shitty fuck sex club lover was. That was fucking Shelley from 2 years ago. Yes. And the beauty of it was, I was probably not beyond dating him again if he kind of found me and called me in tears. But now I have seen his game. I know that he can't fuck. You never get a thing to see how a man has sex. You're just like, oh, I hope he knows what he's doing. Blindly. When do you ever get to see a man's performance without having to fuck him? It was amazing. And in the same evening, this all happened. I could get witnesses. And in the same evening, I saw Richard's dick in a porno. So I'm like, well, I've seen his dick. I didn't even have to put it anywhere near me, I might say. And I saw that douchebag lawyer Shelley's a performance at a sex club, and I'm not missing anything. So sometimes your instincts on who not to date, and that was my last, and everyone was naked and people breathing on each other, and that was my last date pre-pandemic, but it was a lot of skin. So that's my dating career, and wish me luck.